Hello, friends. Welcome. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. I'm back, as was foretold by me. I hope you're all having a great night. I already said that, but I'll reiterate it. Hello, Scully Dude Percy. Welcome on in. Hello, fellow wizard. Yes, Nick, Klaus, the man from the future. So we are, it is Friday for you, but still Thursday for us. We are going to continue on with our fishmen. So we have this fella here. We left off on the last coat for the flesh. So we were going for a more tan look on this guy. I'm going to finish him up, and then I'll go through and I'll sort of give like the rundown of what we've been up to. But this is our last highlight on his skin. Ah, the Green Wizard. Yes. Hello, Green Wizard from the Diff and Dice server. Server. Welcome. It's always welcome to have other Wizards of the Circle with us. We had a heat storm last night and it knocked out the power. Oof. We are cold here tonight. It's supposed to dip down to the 20s Fahrenheit, I should say, which is pretty cold for us. We don't often get that cold, but actually calling for snow flurries on Sunday, which I'll believe it when I see it. Yes, it is very burr for us here, but you know, I don't mind the cold so much. I actually would rather be cold than hot, believe it or not. Going through and adding this last highlight onto the skin, and then we'll move on to the scales. These are very true. a cold Campbell soup on a hot day. You know, I can't say that I've had the pleasure. I absolutely hate being hot. And unfortunately, I live in a very hot area, so... The curse of my geography.
And his name is John C.
Hello? Hello, Mortis13. Welcome back. I couldn't see you there for some reason. I'll take that note, Green Wizard. A nice cold soup on a warm day. Mortis, thank you for the cheer. 100 biddies. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out, Klaus. Have a good one. Cold soba. Whoa, stop shaking the table, me. I was bouncing my leg. That was my bad. All this pent up nervous energy. I do like soba. I don't think I've ever had it cold, though. I knew they do make cold soba noodles, or at least I think they do. Something tells me that they do. Ah, so they do. Confirmed. Yes, cold noodles. Probably all the soba that I've had has been Americanized, so it's been a little bit warm. But cold noodles actually don't sound bad. I don't mind cold noodles. Mostly I'll eat like noodles any way you give them to me. I'm a pasta and noodle fiend. Gotcha. I will look it up. I'll give it a look-see. See what we can find. All right, let's go ahead and now that I've got the skin tone done on this guy, I'll go ahead and let's review. Let's have a look back at where we've come from with these fishmen. So we need to do the scales for this one. And that's it for him until we do the other details, but we'll do all those at once. Last time we also finished this fellow here. I decided to go with an orange and red scheme for him. And I think it came out pretty cool, but I also like this tan one too, so not upset about it at all. We have also finished the 2 green, their scales and their skin. And then we have also finished the 2 blue of this pose. So we are we're trucking along. We're doing it. So we just need to do the skin or the scales on this particular fish man. And we'll do him a little bit differently than we did the orange one, just because he's got different colors on him, so the final highlight will be a little less orange looking. But then we also have these 2 monsters that we need to move on and do after this, which is going to be very interesting because they've got a lot of weird details on them. So we're going to figure it out as we go along. Thank you. Yes, I am. I'm very pleased with the way that they're coming out. Well, funny you should say that. I actually think I'm going to do the fins on the green ones as orange. I think because I'm going to do the fins and the little spinities different colors, so they stand out a little bit. And I'll kind of mix up the colors that I've already used on the fins and the spinities. So like the fins on the green ones will be orange, and the blue ones will have red, and the red ones will have blue skin or blue fins and stuff like that, just to make them stand out a little bit more. At least that's my tentative plan. We'll see how they look as they come along. We might end up changing things up a little bit. So, yeah, we shall see. I know that the red will look cool on the blue, and the orange will look cool on the green, but I don't know about the blue on the red, so we'll see how they come out. All right, so for the scales, we're going to start off with a mix of Berserker Red and Sanguine Scarlet, because we already got a base coat of Berserker Red on there, and it's mostly intact. Mostly. And this color's so strong, it's going to override any sort of overpaint that we might have on there. Yeah. There we go. Shadow Link kind of paint job, and it would be a mini boss variant. We'll actually have a 3D print that I printed out. This guy, somebody designed this, and he's supposed to be the same kind of monster, and he's much bigger than the other ones. So he will, I'll probably make him a boss in a custom quest at some point. And he'll be getting a special paint job. And black and gray might actually be a really cool paint scheme for him, with like yellow eyes or something, or with a yellow eye. He's only got one. So that might be, that's something. I do like that idea though. All right, so we got our mix here. And this is just for the scales. is going through, and this is our transition to the midtones, which is just going to be the Sanguine Scarlet. I'm trying not to blow out my shadows, but it's not as important here because this has got a little bit of that shadow color mixed in. So I'm trying to just avoid the most recessed areas. These like really textured scales up at the back here are always kind of a pain with this step because they're kind of like, they're just like a weird texture. So I'm trying, it's hard to get them without, like, you know, getting too much or not enough of the paint on there. Funny fish. Painting figures. I want to paint up a Gundam, like a mini model slash Warhammer fig. Okay. Tips. Is there anything specific that you want to know, or do you just want general advice? And also, how large is it? Is it like a large size Gundam, or is it like the Gundam minis for the the Gundam miniatures game? That I don't know if it was announced or released, but I do know that there is one. How to dilute paint correctly? Oh yeah, I can help you out with that. That's pretty easy. It's the GQX DOM. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Green Wizard. But if it's a larger, if it's a larger one, then moderately sized Gundam. Okay, cool. All right, so painting or diluting your paints appropriately is, first of all, the first thing you're going to want to know is, or first thing is going to depend on is the type of paint that you're using. Basically, if you're using like your Citadel or any sort of paint, really, unless it's like a wash or something, it's gonna need some sort of dilution. And I'll show you what I'm doing on my palette here. So first of all, I use a wet palette, and I do recommend that you get them. This is the Army Painter wet palette. It's really not that expensive, but if you can't afford one, then I recommend, like, you know, you can make one yourself pretty easily out of a Tupperware container, a paper towel, and a piece of like baking parchment paper. Make sure when you get the parchment paper, it's not the waxed kind. It's just regular parchment paper. Because you want to be able to, you want to wet the paper towel and then put the paper on top. And for that, like, you can't really tell right here, but your wet palette needs to feel like clammy, and not have any water on it or large pieces of water on it, because that'll ruin things. But that's the first step. But once you want to thin down your paints, now I'm mixing these paints together, so this is going to be a little bit more of a thing. So I've got these two big drops, and this way they don't dry out on the wet palette. The thinner ones tend to dry out. And so, like, I'm adding paint, and then I'm mixing these together to get this sort of rusty tone. And I tend to add just a little bit of water at first. I just barely dip my paintbrush in the water. And then what you want to be able to do is you just want to be able to see how it flows on the palette. You see how it's like creating a line and not and that line's not breaking up. That means that the paint is thin to the point where it's going to flow easily. So that's about the consistency that you're looking for. You could test it on the palette. You could also test it on your fingernail. That's another thing that I'll do, is I'll just like try to paint like a straight line on my fingernail. And if it's like a pretty unbroken line, then that means that your paint is thinned well. If your paint is, if you can see through your paint on your nail, you're barely able to see it, that means your paint's too thin. If your paint is not drawing a straight line and it's like breaking up, then that means that your paint's too thick. So you need to add a little bit more water. But just start off slow at first, and then progressively add more water. And if your paint gets too thin, just add a little bit more paint until you get the consistency that you want. And eventually, once you get it down, you just kind of do it without even thinking about it. And that's how I always do my paints usually, is just I'll add a little bit of water and then I'll test the line. If it's a good line, then we're good. And the wet palette just helps that paint stay wet longer. So you don't have to constantly, like, you know, go back to your paint pots and add more paint. Thank you. Anything else that you want to know? I've been painting for the better part of 10 years, so I probably know something at this point. Ooh, woodworking. That's something I've always wanted to get into, but I don't have the space for it. I have this dream in my mind that one day I will have my own little workshop to be able to learn how to woodwork. Alright, so that's our first. Did I get it everywhere? Yes, I did. Okay, so that's our first color. That's our transitional color between our shadows and our midtones. So now we're going to go with the midtones, which is just straight up sanguine scarlet. Yes, it is. That's the thing about acrylic paints, is they always look lighter when you put them on, and then when they dry, they tend to dull down their colors. And you kind of have to just sort of like know that that's going to happen when you put down your paints. That's true for most paints. I think there are a few like fluorescent paints and stuff like that that keep their color. This is not one of them. Trying to be careful not to blow out my shadows. Also be trying to be careful not to get this red paint on too much else. For some reason, it wants to go everywhere, and that's just me throwing my paintbrush on the floor because I can't hold on to anything for some reason. Yeah, if you know how to work with acrylics, it is, you know, that's by and large what you're going to paint minis with. There are some cases where people like to use oil paints. I have never played around with that myself. You can use, there are folks out there who use oil washes. They'll basically do like a diluted oil paint of a diluted like all over of an oil paint, and then they will like oil paint, like oil-based paints, and use it like you would like use normal oil on a mini, and it gets all into like the recesses and stuff like that. But then your model is covered in oil paint, and then they just use like a makeup bud that's been dipped in mineral spirits, and they sort of smudge it off, and it keeps the shadows, but gets it off the raised areas. And it's a quick wash technique that gives you like defined shadows pretty easily, and it works pretty quickly as well. So when you're painting a large amount of minis, it can be very useful. I have never tried it because I don't have any oil paints, and I don't care to go out and buy any just for that one technique, because I don't have an army to paint or anything. Yeah, I could see it being good for weathering, definitely. I think that one of the things that the reason why it's so popular is because it makes recess shading on models like Space Marines very easy, because you don't have to like go through like all the little crevices. You can just sort of hit the recesses, and then you can, and the oil just kind of goes right into the recess with very little convincing. You can also get some pretty cool effects, so that if you use like white oil paint, and so if you want to create like a glowing surface or like something like that, you can use a white oil paint to get it in the recesses, and then you can like spray over, using an airbrush, you can like spray over a fluorescent color, and it looks really like super vibrant and very glowy. A particular miniature artist on Instagram that I follow, El Miniaturista, he's pretty well known for that sort of effect. Yeah, I could definitely see it being used for like a mono eye on a Zaku. Once I finish this mid-tone, I can find. I'll pop up Instagram, and I'll show you the effect. It looks very cool. I follow a lot of miniature painters on Instagram, but it's dangerous because I always compare myself to them. Which comparison is the thief of joy, as the saying goes. All right. That is a good mid-tone. We'll let that hang out for a second. Let's see if I can find El Miniaturista's Instagram. Let's. Logged in over here. Okay, I am. Okay. I'm gonna put this there. Here we go. All right. So here is El Miniaturista's Instagram. So as you can see, this is him demonstrating technique. See, he's using, well, this is him demonstrating a weathering technique. So let's see. He did the like the glowing on the bits of the recessed bits there. You can definitely see it on that one. And this is sort of that technique that he's talking about. That's what he's using. That's the oil paint, or he also uses white ink sometimes to do it. And then he oversprays it with a fluorescent ink. It looks very cool. And this is another thing he does. He's heating up this screwdriver and like creating like a big like hole in the model. And then he paints it. And he creates battle damage on it. So you see how it looks like that Necron is getting his face blasted away. It's pretty cool. It's something that I wish I could do, but you know, it's pretty freaking cool. And there you go. But that's that kind of technique that I'm talking about. So yeah. All right. Just getting my windows all in order. Okay. got our midtones down. Now it's time for our highlight. We are going to mix a little bit of this Vampire Fang in with our Sanguine Scarlet. And that's going to create our transitional highlight. And then we're going to mix a little bit more of that Vampire Fang in there to create our final highlight. And then we are going to start on these guys. I might do one tonight just to see how I'm going to go about this. I kind of want to do a little bit of a shorter stream tonight, just because I feel a little tired and burnt out. And this is a great de-stressor, but there's other stuff I want to do too. And I didn't get to do anything today, really. I've been just kind of cleaning out my my painting studio, or as I call it, my office. And I got a new shelf to put all my like old bits and stuff on, and it's been nice to go through and get rid of some stuff. And also I spent a lot of today just clipping bits off their sprue and putting them in one of those like bead cases. It's like crafters use them to like organize their beads into different colors. I use them to hold very tiny unused bits of models. And I have so many more that I need to do, but I probably need to get another bead organizer in order to do them, just get them all done. Thank you. Yes, I will. I definitely will. Yes, it is currently almost 9:30 my time. I think I'm probably gonna try to knock off stream at 11. So about another hour and a half. I think that'll probably be enough time to make some good progress here. It's funny, but I really love getting organized. It's like there's something so satisfying about it to me. I tend to get like a little messy after being in a space for a long time, which is my office always, and my studio always looks freaking awful after a while, because stuff just gets kind of strewn about. But I really like to just like get a piece of like organization kit, like a shelf or a cabinet or something to just like, you know, keep stuff in or place stuff upon. And I just like, you know, it's just something so satisfying about just that feeling of like, everything's in a place. Like, you can kind of see them here, but I got these two little makeup shelves. They're like for nail polish, to be able to put my paints on. Whoop! Camera. There we go. And that was very satisfying because my paints were all over my frickin' desk and it was giving me real angina. And I was just like, oh my god, I need to do something with these paints. And these are very cheap on Amazon. I'm gonna get some more later. But I'm saving the rest of my Amazon gift card for the Wizards of Morcar release. But after that comes out, I'll buy a couple more. A skeleton army, eh? You know, I thought about that. I've started. You can kind of see him back there. How does mirroring work? There we go. There he is. He's hanging out. He hasn't helped much, unfortunately. All he's done so far is tell me that my hat looks nice, and also ask me constantly when taco night is. And I also have to keep telling him, like, listen, we don't have a prescribed taco night. We just have tacos sometimes, you know? And then he gets very disappointed and he's like, listen, I know Taco Tuesday is like really cliche at this point, but I really feel like there should be a designated night of the week that we just eat tacos. And that I always answer is like, well, what if we don't want to eat tacos on that night? You know, there's a good chance that we might not want to eat tacos on taco night. And it's just lost on him. He doesn't really, you know, doesn't really get it. You know, I can see that. It's the cheese, yeah, the cheese from the tacos. He needs that calcium. Yep. I you know, you make a lot of sense, Green Wizard. Make a lot of sense. I'll see what I can do for him. Are you a fan of One Piece? Green Wizard? Alright, I'm just preparing my final highlight for these scales. I know my YouTube chat's a little bit behind my Twitch chat, so I'll just wait for your response. Very tragic what happened to his crew. Yes, it is. Brooke is one of my favorite characters. And I just love that when he needs to like heal and like restore his broken bones, he just drinks milk. It's great. Yeah, Luffy did the same thing. He had a broken tooth and he just drinks milk and it restores his tooth, and you're just like, wait, how does that even work? And the answer is, it just does. The same way that bandages heal everything. Zoro gets like placed within an inch of his life, and Chopper just wraps him up with band-aids, and he's like, yeah, I'll be fine. But Zoro is my favorite character. I mean, you know, everybody loves Luffy, but Zoro is my favorite. What do I think the One Piece will be? That's a good question. Oda has confirmed that it is a thing. He has said that it is an actual treasure. He said it's not something intangible, like, you know, the friends we made along the way. Or like the power of friendship. He said it is a thing. And, I mean, I'm trying to think about what it would possibly be. I like this god fruit theory as opposed to a devil fruit. Yeah, the brass monkey. Yeah, that would be funny. But you know, he is Monkey D. Luffy, so you know that also tracks. But I'm thinking about what Roger would have left at the end of the world that people would want. I mean, besides like a ton of money or whatever, but Luffy wouldn't give two shits about about money. He just wants to be the most free. I'm thinking. This is hard. A UFO? Well, I'm a bit behind on the anime, but I get a lot of One Piece esoterica by proxy, just by going through my social media feeds. I'm just wondering, like, it would be the Infinite Ship. I'm wondering if it might be some sort of like I wonder if it might be some sort of like relic from like the world a world before it was destroyed. So they said the world's been destroyed twice before. So it could be some sort of like, yeah. Yeah. It also might be something to like keep the world from sinking. But I don't know. Yeah, it could be something like a spaceship. I think that would be cool. But the real question is, how's that gonna help him defeat Emu? I guess having a spaceship would be useful in defeating someone. I don't know. I love the story of One Piece, so I'm really interested to see what is going to happen, because like it's been going on for so long, and like they finally said that, oh, it's ending, you know, we're in the final arc, And there's a lot of, like, you know, stuff going on in the manga that's, like, very final arc worthy. So we will see. Yeah, emu. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how to spell it or pronounce it. But yeah, it might be something along those lines. Because we saw Bonnie be Anika as well because of her powers. All right, that's our last highlight, Lar. So it very much could be something to, like, you know, to do that. It could just like be something as simple as like counteracting like his ability to like turn people evil. Or whatever it is he does. All right. So we finished both of our red fishmen. So there we go. They look pretty snazzy. All right, well, they're not finished, but you know, the scales and the skin are done, so that's like a big part of it. It's finished. Thank you. Yes, I think they're looking pretty good too. Oh, excuse me, too. All right, so for these guys, I've got them base coated in brown, because sort of in my head, I have this idea that I want them to kind of be like seaweed. Like, you know, like gross washed up seaweed that you find on the beach. Like sort of that brownish green color. And that's just an idea I have in my head. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. I want to try woodland camo and mix it with a little bit of the shadow tone, which is curious leather. So I'm going to try to mix these two together. So we'll see how it works out. That's about the color I wanted. I hesitate to call it baby poop brown. Or baby poop green, but it does look a little baby poopy if you look at it on the palette. That one right there, it's kind of a gross color. Thank you. Yeah, I know that's some people are saying that the emu went crazy and he's doing everything because he liked Joy Boy. But I don't know, the world government, I don't like them. Never have. Not since Innie's lobby. Shoot down that flag, Usopp. I mean, Sniper King. Get rid of them all, I say. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot going on there. I mean, like, I think one of the best parts, or one of the best things about One Piece is that we actually do. You can have all these crazy bits of speculation, and you know, you'll get an answer eventually. But I also love that there's just so many potential ways that the story could go. It's just a great story, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. And I can't make any crazy like theories because like I said, I'm behind, so I don't know all of the little details from start to finish. But I am very interested to see where it takes us. Because there is still so much to be resolved in the story. And they just keep adding more and more dimensions to it. And the crazy thing about it is that you think for something with that much setup that the payoff would be like not necessarily disappointing, but like you think it's like there's no way that he planned all that. And then like, you know, you realize, oh, he could have, which is a pretty good trick, honestly. It's the thing that I always love, or that I always loved about the, people would always ask the question, like, you know, why didn't Shanks use hockey in order to keep his arm from being bitten off by the giant Sea King in the very first chapter? And we have an answer for that now. So you're just like, oh, so that's why. Because he wanted to lose that arm anyway. Which is pretty freaking awesome. That is pretty wild. It's something I did not know about, but now I do. Yeah, Shanks is okay with losing his arm because he had, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but he had that tattoo on his arm. Oh, he had that tattoo on his arm. It's like it was like I can't remember. I don't remember who it is that uses. It's probably Emu who uses it to like exert control over people. It's like a low level kind of like control technique or something. And it was a tattoo that was like for the world. It was like the symbol of the world government. And it like gives him like control over them if they're like within like, or if they're like close to him or whatever. And he it was on the arm that got bit off, so that's why he was okay with it. So now now if he goes up against Emu, he's free from his control. Yeah, this color is very subtle, so you're not able to see it very well. So once I get that green on there, it'll be much more obvious. Yes, 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 yes. That's the one. That's it. He was one of the demon heads because he was like, I'm not like 100% on what the deal is there, but I was just I'm just seeing it pop up in my feed, like I say, and it kind of like people presenting all this like evidence and stuff like that. Because there's like images of him with the tattoo when he's younger, and then when he gets and it's on the tattoo that got it's on the arm that got bitten off by the Sea King. Well, not a Sea King, it was a sea serpent. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. One Piece is pretty dope. Added a little bit more green to this color because I can actually see it just a little bit better now. It's a little gross. It's so hard for me to see like a lot of the details on this mini because like he's just so much going on here. There's so many like little barnacles and shit on him. It's pretty wild. The tendrils should be sickly blue. Yeah, I can see that. I'm kind of leaning towards making them just the seaweed color that we're going with. Just doing that all over. Just because, like, there's such a big, like, such a big feature. Like, if you look at the back of this thing, that's like all you see are these frickin' tendrils. So if I make them too like a bright or one color, the whole like thing is gonna like, you know, kind of take over. That's my only concern with making them like a really standout color. But I'm just concentrating on one at the moment because I want to get my color scheme down here. Maybe a little bit more green dot on it. This process is feeling very iterative. Like I'm just like barely raising up every single like layer. It's just, I keep saying it, but there's just so much going on here, man. Lots of barnacles. It's hard for me to tell what's a barnacle, what isn't a barnacle. Oh, like beach, like a, oh, more like a, kind of a gross, like grayish blue. Something like that color. Maybe mix a little bit of I can maybe mix a little bit of green in there. So that could work. I do have a second one, so we can experiment a little bit more on that one if we don't like the way that this one comes out. Let's go ahead and move on to that just this green, and we'll see where that leaves us. More of an olive tone here. We use this sort of as like a highlight. I'm sort of trying to not like just straight up paint this on this highlight. I'm trying to add a little bit of texture to it by doing some like sort of short pointy motions. So instead of like just like a good clean line on some of these places, there's a little bit of a just like a pokey bit, or like I'm just sort of like poking. Whereas on like the tentacles here, I'll go for a smoother sort of thing just because they are a smoother sort of surface. This is an interesting figure. Yeah. Well, there may be some out there. These ones in particular that I'm painting, Green Wizard, are from a game called Hero Quest. These are actual figures that came with the game. I didn't print these ones out, but yeah, these are actually called abominations. They're monsters in the game. I just call them fishmen because that's what they are. But some crab abominations are definitely something that I would be interested in. I could find some probably. There's everything on like Thingiverse and stuff. People are always designing really cool stuff. Yes, Hero Quest is the best game ever. That's some very old YouTube video. Alright, so we're adding a little bit of orc hide. We're going to be doing like a blend of the woodland camo and orc hide. Orc hide just a little bit brighter than the woodland camo. Not by a lot. This is going to be like a highlight for us. Yeah, I do love me some Hero Quest though. Green Wizard, that is it's probably my favorite fantasy board game. It doesn't have like any like RPG like Dungeons and Dragons components to it, but it's a very simple, fun game. It also has a lot of nostalgia attached to it for me, so that's definitely one of the reasons why it's so beloved still. Yeah, this guy's looking pretty significantly gross. Well, it really depends on what you get. So it's not like a, the kits aren't sold individually. You have your core game system. and then you get a set of heroes, and then you get monsters as well, along with a quest book, which has, I think the very first one has like 13 quests in it. And you get a whole bunch of furniture and stuff like that for the dungeon as well, because this is a dungeon crawler style game where 4 heroes get together and storm a dungeon to kill monsters and get loot, that sort of thing. And you progressively get better equipment along the way and have to overcome more challenges, etc., etc. There is actually. There is the HeroQuest game system, which is the baseline, and that comes with a bunch of figures and furniture and stuff, like I said, and monsters. But then there's also a more economic version called HeroQuest First Light, which doesn't have all the figures in it, but it does have 4 hero figures, as well as a dragon. And all the monsters are like standees. So you can still play the core game without having to spend too much money. And then there is another recently released expansion called The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, which was designed by Joe Manganiello. If you know who that is, he's like an actor, but he's like well known in like the Dungeons and Dragons space. But he designed a quest book for them, and that has a dragon in it as well. But it is just an expansion, so it just comes with the dragon and a quest book and a bunch of tiles to punch out for your board. So I do have both of those figures. I could go grab them real quick and show them to you if you're interested. Yeah, so I've got both of them. Sorry for the old man grunts. I had to bend. So for HeroQuest First Light, this is the Dragon Mini that you get. Whoop. This is the one from First Light. He's a large monster which has its own rules in the game. And I actually painted this one. This is the one from Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. He's more of a poison dragon. His name is Venom. So pretty cool. But yeah, those are the dragons that they have. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very cool mini. The one that was released with the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, the box set, is actually a little bit better. It's a little bit bigger than the one that I showed you. Mine is from the original, like, HasLab campaign, or Kickstarter, which is what Hasbro called it, HasLab, when they announced the re-release of HeroQuest. So But yeah, very cool minis. It's a very simple board game. I mean, it's like, it's designed for, you know, you have a dungeon master who like controls the monsters, and then you have the players who are fighting the who are the heroes, and they're like doing all the fighting and stuff like that. Those are the player characters, of course. And but there's an app that will act as the dungeon master now, and it's alright. It's not terrible. It sometimes makes questionable decisions, but it's not bad at being the dungeon master. And you can kind of get it to like target weak heroes if you want to and stuff like that. And there's a ton of homebrew material out there for Hero Quest. Like people, the game's been around since the 80s, and they revived it in 2021. And people have been, in the meantime, people have been crafting homebrew quests and like, you know, heroes and monsters and stuff like that to add to it for the better part of 30 years. So lots of homebrew stuff out there. You can make the game as simple as you want, as complex as you want, and as hard as you want. But it's designed to be able to be played by, you know, people who are maybe not necessarily like familiar with tabletop RPGs or tabletop fantasy games, because like this rules are super simple, and there's not a whole lot of depth in the base game, but it is wide. And you can always add to it. So I recommend it, especially if you know people who are like, you know, oh, I don't know if I'm interested in playing like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that involved. I just kind of like, you know, I like fantasy, but I don't want to like do all the role play and stuff like that. It's a good game for that kind of thing as well. Or it's a good thing to like, if you have like a friend or a significant other who's like curious about that kind of game. It's a good gateway drug. Oh, absolutely. You could definitely use them for, you could definitely use both for either. I mean, like, you can, I mean, these are just like big monsters on 25mm bases. They're just attached to it. So, and look, you know, you could easily use this as a D&D creature to fight against. I think that's as far as up the highlights I'm gonna take this guy, because he looks very sickly green. And he's got a ton of barnacles on it. I'm gonna paint those barnacles a different color, I think. Eventually when we get to him. I like this sickly green, this gross, like, kind of greenish color. So let's see if we can do something different with this guy. I got about 30 minutes. Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna go for, like a sandy color. But they all have some kind of barnacles on them. So I'm probably gonna paint all the barnacles the same color, just to kind of have a sort of commonality between them. So they'll all sort of be that sandy kind of color. But I'm gonna look up like barnacles and see what colors they are and figure out how I'm gonna do that one. So for this one, Green Wizard, I might take your suggestion here. We might add a little bit of this here. Yeah, sandy or an awful brown. Add a little bit of this gross, like, blue here. So we've got like a brown going on. I'm just organizing here because I realized I had a couple of things out that I didn't want to put away. So let's see what it looks like. All right, let's take some of this dark green that I've been working with, the olive green. Let's mix it with a little bit of this blue. Let's see what kind of color we get so we can get a nice transition between the two colors. We'll start with these tentacles back here. I really do like that color though. That's it feels significantly disgusting. I do like the way that this color looks on the tentacles. It's interesting how this kind of blends with the brown somewhat. Yeah, I agree. bit more blue there. Yeah, I think that as a base color for these tentacles looks pretty sick. And considering like whether or not I should do like the rest of it green, or I should lean into more of the bluish color scheme. I think that's a question for next time though. Green blue, yep, that might be the call, but I think I'm gonna leave that question for next time meet, because I think we're gonna go ahead and go on a little trip here. Yeah. Woo. Alrighty, well, we're gonna go to this screen right here. The screen that says we're just chatting. We chatting. All right, well, thanks so much to everybody for hanging out. Let's go ahead and get our sign-off song here. All right. Whew. Okay. Well, thanks so much for hanging out, folks. I've been having a great time painting these guys, and we are almost finished with the fishmen, which is great. And that's our last big group of monsters that we have to do. And then we've got a few more monster groups to do, but they're going to be fairly unique because they're small, little small groups. And we've got gargoyles and dragons to paint. It's going to be fun to paint too. So, yeah. Sorry for the low energy. I'm kind of tired tonight. I don't know if you can tell. But we are, but we're trucking on. Glad you liked the stream, Green Wizard. You are most welcome to come back anytime, as is everybody else. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I'm going to sign off now, and see you on Monday. Peace.
On a weeping willow tree, and may the world go well with thee. My grave both wide and deep, wide and deep. Put tombstones at my head and feet, and on my breast carve a turtle dove to signify I died of love. Fare thee well, for I must leave thee. Do not let the parting grieve thee. Remember that the best of friends must part, must part. Adieu, adieu, kind friends, adieu, adieu, adieu. I can no longer stay with you, stay with you. I'll hang my